32, I think it's 32 of the Stringing It Together podcast. My name is Becky, your host, coming to you from Frankfurt, Germany today, where I live with my two cats who are currently on the move. Hello, ladies. Yeah, so this is my podcast primarily about knitting and sewing and whatever else I'm getting up to. I'm a knitwear designer as well, so I talk about that. And I think that's pretty much it. So I'll put up on the screen where you can find me on social media. I am Soprano Knits on Ravelry and Instagram, where I am most active. We also have a Ravelry group. And I also have a newsletter where I talk about stuff that's going on, mainly with my knitwear design, but I also put little things in there about my life. Usually just like as it relates to my opera life, because I know that a lot of that interests you guys. And if we do have new people, I live in Germany and I sing in an opera chorus. So yeah, that hence the Soprano Knits name. So anyway, it's good to be back with you guys. Yeah, I am flying without a plan today. I don't have show notes, so I'm going to try to stay on track. I know that one thing I do have to say is that I have not yet heard from the winner of the, I think I tucked them away somewhere. Oh no, here they are. The Ovis Etc. mini skeins for the Dora Smits giveaway. So if you entered that giveaway, there was a Ravelry prompt. Do go back and watch the last episode. I think I talked about it at the end. So yeah, because I'm hoping that that winner gets in contact, otherwise I will have to draw another winner. So yeah. Oh, and speaking of the Dora Smits, we are having a knit along for the Dora Smits at the moment, which is being run in the Ravelry group, which will be linked below. And yeah, so far there is zero chatter, and I don't think anyone's used the hashtag, so yeah. But I did realize, I believe I said it correctly in the last episode, but on Instagram I said it ran from April 15th to May 1st, which was wrong. It definitely runs until May 31st. So I really hope I didn't scare people off of doing that or joining into the Cal for that mistake. If I did, I am very sorry, but I hope at least some people join in. Ooh. For prizes, so far I've decided I'm going to donate 2 skeins of the Zelazna wool in the lace weight. I use the fingering weight for the sample, but yeah, I have 2 skeins of that. I might split them up, I might send them together as one prize. It kind of depends how many people we have enter the knit along, so I have that. And then I was also generously gifted a pattern, which is called the Slava Mitts. Slava Mittens? Slava Mitts. I'm putting it on the screen. And I thought that would be a nice giveaway for this knit along as well, as it's for mitts. So yeah, and then if anyone else feels like donating a prize, you can get in contact with me. Otherwise, I might throw in some other things on my own that I think of. So yeah, anyway, let's move on to what I've been making. I don't have any finished objects this week, but I do have a half object. So I finished one of the socks I was working on. This is a new design, and it's a really fun collaboration with Gabby of Once Upon a Corgi, who dyed the yarn for this, and my awesome friend Hannah of the Corner of Craft, of course, who is making a progress keeper to go along with it. So this is kind of similar to our Volca Socks collaboration that we did last year that a lot of you seem to really enjoy, and we really loved working together. We're all great friends, so we're doing it again, you guys. So these are yet unnamed. I had a few ideas. It has this like textured leaf pattern above, or below the cuff and above the toe, and then this sort of like rainy pattern going on. So I don't know, I was thinking something about dew, but there's so many names with dew in them, like Dew, D-E-W, you know. So I don't know. And then I had like an idea for a German name, but it's kind of like a mouthful. I was thinking of calling them the Frühlingsglaube socks. It's one of my favorite art songs, and it means like faith in spring or belief in spring. And I think this time of year a lot of us need to hold the faith that spring is actually coming and winter is actually over. So yeah, so I'm not sure about that, but I have one finished and the other one is well on its way. So yeah, here's where I am for the other one. And I have, I don't know if you can see it from back there. And again, I have autofocus turned off, so I'm holding things closer to me because I focused it on myself. But I have the little cloud progress keeper that Hannah made for our last collaboration. And yeah, it's making me happy on there. So there you go, you guys. So this pattern, we're hoping to have it released in mid-May. Yeah, I'm sending it out to testers today actually, and it's being tech edited right now. So yeah, it's a fun little springy pattern. And it was funny, I showed it to one of my German friends, and he sort of like put it on his hand and waved it around, and he was like, oh, it's very like luftig, which means like windy kind of, or like a lot of air is getting through the holes. And I was like, that's okay, because they're spring socks, right? We're changing the seasons and all of that jazz. So anyway, those are coming down the pike. If you have any brilliant name suggestions for those, I'm all ears. This is my like most anxiety-inducing part, is choosing names for things, for patterns. So yeah. Yeah, and I actually have only been working on one other whip. Yeah, that's true. In the past 2 weeks. And it's being housed in this amazing project bag that my friend Stina made for me and sent me in a swap, and it is, I almost always have something in here. I think maybe I always have since she gave it to me. I don't know, I just love it so much. And this is my tambourine cardigan, which is a pattern from Pom Pom magazine. I talked more about it last time. I was just on the ribbing last time, and now I have almost 3 complete tambourines on here. So yeah, this is going fairly well. It's fairly mindless, although I screwed it up in the beginning so much. Mainly for the bobbles, you know, you have to do increases and then decreases to make them, and I was doing a lot of backstage knitting. We're doing a modern opera right now where the women only sing backstage, and we have to sit there during the whole opera, like kind of in the dark, but we have a light on our stand so I could knit. But I think, you know, I would put it down and pick it up and put it down and pick it up and forget where I was. So I had to rip back like an entire tambourine when I started, and I've had a few issues, but it's just user error. There's nothing wrong with the pattern at all. But yeah, I'm loving knitting it. I am adoring the yarn, which is a BFL Masham blend from Laxton's Limited. I think they were selling it at EYF last year for like wholesale prices because it was so affordable. It's a single ply DK, and I don't know if you can tell, you probably can't from back there, but it has this like amazing halo on it, and it's so soft and very exciting. And I have decided that I'm going to make a modification to the pattern. After perusing Ravelry and looking at a lot of people's comments, the pattern is written so that the button bands are knit into the pattern when you're knitting it up. So they, you know, you have some ribbing, but it's going vertically. Yeah, kind of like down here. Sorry, I had to think about that. Instead of the more traditional way, which is picking up the stitches. I love that idea and concept because I hate picking up stitches, but a lot of people found that it was rolling in and they couldn't get it to lay flat. And I know that my friend Ruth, if you're watching, hi Ruth, said the same thing about hers. So I decided, because I'm okay with wearing it open, but I'd like to have that option. Wait, no, never mind. Blah, blah. So what I decided to do was to eliminate those stitches on the end, and I'm going to go back and pick up stitches for a button band when I'm finished, in hopes that it will lay a little bit flatter. So all I did was I moved the tambourine closer to the edge, since I don't have those extra stitches. Yeah, and I think that's it. I had already cast on the amount of stitches, but my gauge was a little bit, just a tiny bit off, so I really don't think it's going to make that big of a difference. It was just a few stitches. So yeah, that's the only modification. I'm pretty close to having to do something for the sleeves. This is the first cardigan I've ever knit bottom up, so this is a new experience for me. And it freaks me out a little bit. I'm used to being able to kind of try it on as I go. But yeah, I'm really enjoying the knit. I got a lot done on it the other day when I had to go up to Leipzig for an audition. I was on the train for 6 hours, so I pretty much knit on it that whole time. So yeah, that's it actually for my knitting whips. I've been fairly monogamous. And I've actually really been enjoying doing that. I don't think that complete knitting monogamy is going to be practical for me because I do like to have a project that isn't a design that I'm working on to kind of give my brain a rest. And I like knitting other people's patterns too. So yeah, but I think working on kind of one design at once is really nice. So the problems I was having with the shawl design I'm working on, I haven't touched that at all. I really want to get this sock finished, and I'm going to have to knit the sample for the new Making Stories book. By the way, Making Stories has their second book coming out on May 4th. It's called Breeze, and it's a lot of spring and summer patterns, and I am so excited about it. It is beautiful. So I do not have any designs in that, so this isn't self-promotion, but there's such amazing patterns in there, so I just highly recommend that you guys check that out. Pre-orders are open right now, and those are going to start shipping from May 3rd. You can also go on their website and look at their stockist list to see if your local yarn shop will be stocking the book. So yeah, if Hannah Lisa or Verena are watching, congratulations you guys for your second book. It's so exciting. And also congratulations to everyone who has patterns in the book because it's really beautiful, and there are quite a number of things in there that I really want in it. So it's very exciting. Yay! I did receive some yarn acquisitions. Hang on, it's in here actually. A giant box of yarn from my friend who is the natural dyer behind Oysters and Pearls. And I'm going to be working on designing my first garment, which I'm really scared about, probably without needing to be. But yeah, I'm very intimidated. So she dyed these puppies up for me, and I'm very excited. Yeah, they're sort of like a natural, as you can see, sort of like, they have brown tones in there, but it has like an aubergine plum undertone, so it's a really interesting color. And one of these has the wrong tag. Let me get the right information. This is her 100% Targhee Columbia base. It's a worsted weight, and yeah, it's really lovely. So I'm excited. I might deviate from my original plan. So it's sort of like, now that I have the yarn in my hands and I've touched it and I've seen it, yeah, the idea for the garment is sort of ruminating in my skull. We'll see what happens. Yeah. Scary times, y'all. Scary times, but I'm going to try. So that is it for knitting, really, I think. Yes. So we will move on to sewing. So I really hoped to have my Aster top finished before I recorded, but I could have done it, but I'm having issues. So this is a bit of a tale of woe. As you can see, it is mostly assembled. However, I guess I can sort of put it on over what I'm wearing. I've had a lot of issues with this, and it is listed as an intermediate pattern, and I would not consider myself an intermediate sewer. I am a beginner. Maybe like an adventurous beginner, but yeah. So the problem is that, I don't know if you can tell, especially since I'm wearing something under this, but the neckline is not laying flat at all. I don't have the buttons on, but I pinned it in place to sort of look at this, and it's really gaping quite a lot. And I posted something on Instagram yesterday, and the reason seems to be people are suggesting that it got stretched out because the bias tape maybe got stretched out. Also, I'm really hating that the bias tape is so obvious, especially because it's gaping. I mean, I chose this bias tape, it's my fault. But I think the reason is that I made a really dumb rookie mistake and put the bias tape originally sewed it on the inside, and you're supposed to sew it on the right side and then fold it in, and I did it backwards. So I did that fully and then realized it was wrong and ripped it out, and then use the same strip of bias tape. So maybe in the process of like being sewn, ripped out and sewn again, it kind of stretched. So yeah, I got the suggestion of trying with a smaller piece of bias tape or trying to draft my own facing. I have to see how much of this fabric I have left. I remember looking, because there's an option to make your own bias tape, and I thought I didn't have enough really going on the bias. So, but I'm going to take another look because I think it would look better if I use the same fabric. But I also know that at this point I'm just very frustrated with this. I had a lot of issues. Most of them are probably just user error, but anyway, yeah, I got to the point where like I'm almost done with it, but I have to do this major surgery and try to fix it. So I think I'm going to set it aside. I don't like the idea of having like a languishing sewing whip, really, but I just know myself, and I think at this point I'm frustrated and I've sort of lost my patience, and I considered yesterday just putting the buttons on and being like, it's done, it's fine, it's done. But I want it to be something that actually works in my wardrobe. So yeah, I mean, I had problems too, like with the cuffs. I don't know if it's a fabric I'm using, I don't know what was going on. Like they weren't even like fitting totally right, and I'm gonna have to do some hand tacking because I couldn't totally like enclose the seam allowances. I don't know. I don't know. So anyway, that's that, but I can sort of stand up and give you an idea of it. I was also a little bit worried about the fit, and I didn't finish the side seams, but I did decide to go ahead and put the sleeves in because I knew if I messed with the side seams that would mess with the measurements. But I could take it in a little bit more on the side if I needed to, so I did leave those unfinished until I decide. But yeah, I'm okay with it having some positive ease. But yeah, so there you go. So anyway, just what I would say is that if you are a beginner, I struggled a bit with this pattern, but I also eventually found that Colette has sort of step-by-step instructions on, I guess, their blog for this. If you just search like Colette Aster tutorial, you'll find them. And once I found that, I wish I had seen that earlier because they have really clear pictures of everything where like the diagrams and the pattern weren't totally clear to me. Because they would just have instructions like clip the corner. And I was like, what corner, where? Or like clip the seam allowance to this place, and I was like, where? And they show you in the picture. So anyway, so I think that's gonna go into hibernation. And as sort of a palette cleanser, I've decided to return to my Tilly and the Buttons Love at First Stitch book, which I guess I've only sewn the pajamas out of this. But I've also made 2 Bettine dresses, and I find her instructions to be incredibly clear. Yeah, and I think I just kind of need to backtrack and go back to basics a little bit. Yeah, but the problem is that I honestly find that a lot of her patterns aren't exactly my style, but the fit is really good and the instructions are good. But I think some of that is fabric choice, and that sometimes it's kind of hard for me to look past that on a pattern. She chooses really bold patterns, and also a lot of the times has options that are just things that I would never personally include. So I've decided that I'm going to make the Lilu dress. There are a couple different variations of it. Like this one has a bow around the waist, which just for me personally, I would never do. There's an option to make it pleated or to do a gathered skirt, and I think I'm going to do the gathered skirt. There's an option to sort of make like a wavy neckline, which I like in theory, but I think I'm just going to leave it as the plain scoop neckline. I think that makes more sense. And I found this fabric. Let me pull it here. It's my drying rack is right here because I washed it last night so that I can cut it out today. Okay. This is the fabric that I got. I'll kind of stand up so you can see it better. It is just a woven 100% cotton fabric. It is lighter than like quilting cotton. It's not extremely light, but I'm not worried about it in this pattern because it has a zipper. But yeah, it's this really beautiful kind of like floral botanical pattern. I hope you can see it all right. I think it's really, really lovely and will make a really lovely dress. And I kind of like that it's striped, but it's like a patterned stripe, which is nice. So I'm thinking, you know, dress, it'll be a dress. So, yeah, it wasn't like really, really cheap, but it wasn't really expensive either. So I think that will be lovely. Although dresses aren't really what I need in my wardrobe the most right now. But I have found we've had a really drastic change in weather. It's sort of gone back now, but it was like winter, winter, winter. We had a few days of spring, and then suddenly it was like 80 degrees for like a week, which is like 20, it was like 25, 27, like really, really nice and warm. It was summer, which was nice, but it was also kind of like jarring because like I hadn't switched my wardrobe over, and yeah, but I really started thinking like, oh, I want to make all these clothes and whatever. So I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna make another dress, even though I think I really need more separates. But I think this will just be, like I said, a really good palette cleanser for me. And there are only a couple pattern pieces. I've already done an invisible zipper before, but I think I can improve on it this time. I'm remembering my Betty dress, which was kind of difficult because it was also a more difficult fabric to work with, and the fit of that garment was not working out for me. I still want to go back and make some adjustments to that, but yeah, so that's what I'm going to do. And also, actually, when I went and bought this fabric, I bought some other fabric. You can tell I didn't really prepare for this podcast. But I got two viscose fabrics for, I'm planning on making probably both of these into Ogden camis, which is, I think, a True Bias pattern. So yeah, again, it makes me a little nervous because my Betty dress I made out of viscose and it was kind of difficult to work with, but I think it'll be easier on this like smaller scale project. So I got this one, which is like sort of like a tie-dye-y fabric. Yeah, this one was more expensive, but I think I might make this one first because it has a pattern. So if I make some mistakes, it'll hide it better. Because the other one I got is just this plain sort of blush pink. And I just thought this would make a really lovely one. Also, I don't know if I have enough of this, but So Liberated is about to come out with a skirt pattern that I don't remember what it's called, but I'm really excited about it. And if I have enough, I thought about maybe making this into that, but we'll see. We'll see. What's this? There's like a weird sticker. I have no idea what that's for. Anyway, so yeah, I got those as well. These were sort of unintentional or unplanned fabric purchases, and I really kind of want to resist buying more fabric until I sew through some more of my stash. Yeah, I think I'm sort of, becomes a little bit like yarn, where, you know, I saw somewhere that knitting and buying yarn are like two separate hobbies. And I think that's true. It's like we love that feeling of planning for stuff, but I'm really trying to resist those urges more. And on that subject, I kind of want to segue into kind of another conversation just about my thoughts about kind of decluttering, minimizing, being more minimalist, and also creating a wardrobe, a handmade wardrobe that is really intentional. Yeah, I'm trying to think how to best organize my thoughts about this. I have a lot. I guess I'll start out by saying that it is Fashion Revolution Week, which is a week that was created because 5 years ago, this week, a fabric or a textile factory collapsed in Bangladesh, killing over 1,000 people, many of whom were women, and injuring 2,500 others. And it was one of these eye-opening events about, you know, just thinking about the conditions under which people work in other countries who are making a lot of the clothes that we find in fast fashion. And yeah, so it's this week is all about kind of having that discussion and there's a hashtag like I made my clothes, who made my clothes, I made your clothes, whatever. So a lot of people that are makers who just make things for themselves, or who have businesses that you know, make clothing on a smaller scale, are having these conversations. And you know, I'll be honest, the primary reason I got into making my own clothes was not this reason. It was just as a hobby, but the more I get into it, the more that matters to me. And that's an extra motivation to do it, is that, yeah, I want to be more sustainable in that way. And I think we all have to pick our battles, you know. There are a lot of ways that we can help the earth and help humanity and all of these things, but for me, this is one that fits into my life and aligns with my interests, and yeah, I want to be more conscious about that. And I'm also thinking about being more conscious about my fabric purchases, because to be honest, I don't really know where any of my fabric comes from. And again, like, who made this fabric? Where did it come from? What conditions did these people work under? Etc., etc. So yeah, those are all kind of things going around in my head. Also, in terms of kind of decluttering and minimizing, I don't have, you know, a crazy amount of possessions anymore, because I did move to Germany less than 2 years ago with 2 suitcases. However, it is totally insane to me how much I've acquired during that time. So I'm kind of doing another purge. And I decided, this was an idea I got from listening to the Slow Home podcast, which is an awesome audio podcast about, you know, slow living, and they do these experiments every month. And one of them was they did the Mins game, which was created by the Minimalists, who are 2 guys who call themselves Minimalists. I think they have a book. You can look it up. Where you do this challenge or this game for a month, and the first day you get rid of 1 thing, the second day you get rid of 2 things, the third day you get rid of 3 things, on and on and on, until day 31 you get rid of 31 things. When you think of it that way, you say, oh, that sounds manageable. But when you do the math, I think it's 465 items, which is a lot. So yeah, but I, for better or for worse, sort of decided to try it. My expectation is failure, just because I really don't think that I have quite enough things to actually get rid of that many, especially because I'm not counting things like individual pieces of paper of documents I'm getting rid of or anything like that. So yeah, but I'm doing it with my friend Jason, so we have sort of an accountability thing going on. Yeah, so I'm trying, but there have been some issues that are coming up for me surrounding this. And yeah, I kind of wanted to talk about them here and hear your thoughts about them as well. So one of the issues, okay, we all have things in our house that we can declutter and get rid of that kind of feel good to do so. So things that we can give away to charity without a problem, or, you know, some things that we can throw away. Okay, maybe it doesn't feel great to throw things into the trash, but if you really know that, like, they're past their use and no one else is going to be able to get use out of them, that's fine, right? It feels kind of good. But then for me, I have problems when I come to some other things. One of those things are things that I don't feel comfortable giving away that I would rather sell. And, you know, it's not that I wouldn't like to give them away, that just with my current financial situation isn't practical. So things like really nice clothes that I have that are maybe brand name clothes that have barely been worn that I would like to sell and get some money for. Or, you know, older electronics. So in the past year, I've gotten a new laptop and a new phone, and I still have my old laptop and old phone that are still functioning, that I could probably get some money for those. With that issue, it's more that I'm procrastinating actually cleaning all of my data off of them. So that's, I'm aware of that. And then we come to, so that's kind of a problem, right? Or not a problem, but it creates kind of more stress and a bigger to-do list, and I'm struggling with that a little bit because I have to find a way to list all the things online to sell, and you know, I'm trying to sell them on sort of a website app thing here in Germany, and none of my items have sold yet, even though I think... Okay, sometimes my camera does that where it stops recording. So anyway, I've listed some clothes to sell. None of them have sold yet, so I'm sort of like, well, I could lower the prices, we'll see. Similar thing, you know, I had a tea stash going, which is still actually going on. I still have some things listed on Ravelry if you want to go look. Yeah, I want to have less, but it's challenging because honestly, I can't afford to just give everything away. And then another issue is things that I handmade. And this is a really tough one because first of all, they do have a fair amount of financial value, especially when we consider like handmade or hand knitted garments. And I'm looking at the floor because I've collected some of them because I wanted to talk about individual things. And yeah, but they also have, you know, our time. And I think especially with knitting, they have like emotional value. And a lot of the things, you know, part of decluttering is sort of learning to detach yourself from this emotional value, but I have a hard time with handmade things. So I'm going to give you some examples of things that's like I would like to get rid of, but I don't really know how. So one is actually the first sweater that I ever made. This is the Madewell cardigan, which is a pattern by Joji Locatelli. It has these, what are they called? Elbow patches, which I do love. And I bought this yarn on my audition tour in Germany, and I started knitting it then, which was a very pivotal time in my life, right? So it has a lot of emotional stuff wrapped into it. And I mean, I do like this sweater. But the problem is that it's a raglan cardigan, and if I just like gesture a little bit and move it around, right? Raglan cardigans don't fit me, y'all. They just don't. They don't stay on. So because of that, I just don't wear it very often, even though I like it theoretically. So I don't know what to do because I could, you know, I've seen some other people do kind of destashes of things like this and say, oh, I can trade for, you know, maybe if someone else has a sweater's quantity of yarn or something, I could trade with another knitter. And that would be good because another knitter would really appreciate this, but I don't really need more yarn. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you guys have ideas? I mean, I thought maybe I could make like an Etsy and see about selling some handmade things there. Or even, you know, see if there's any interest if I post it on Facebook, like to my Muggle friends who, you know, because we all have friends who are like, oh my God, will you knit me a sweater? And we're all like, no. But, you know, it's like, hey, I already knit this sweater. Could you use it? How much would, you know, just kind of ask for a donation, maybe like in this range based on, you know, we can't charge for time, but even just based on the cost of the materials or something. So that's one of the things, for example. Another one, and this two of these I had put up on my D-stash, are a couple of shawls. This is the Great Divide shawl that I made out of 2 skeins of Republic of Wool yarn. I never wear it. It's lovely, but it's just not really me. It's not really something that I wear. Yeah, but it's, you know, I remember where I bought the yarn, I remember knitting it, I remember all that. Another one is my Doodler shawl by Stephen West. This is all Madeline Tosh yarn. And I was also knitting this on my Germany audition tour, I remember finishing it there. I never wear it, so I don't know what to do. And I have a couple of smaller things as well, like some hats and things like that. But another big one that I'm thinking of is my Portage cardigan, and this is really a big one. This was knit, again, entirely out of Madeline Tosh, so not a cheap sweater, because it's DK weight and it's very long and large. It's a little bit big on me, and I feel a little bit like frumpy in it, and therefore I just don't wear it very often. So again, it's not that I dislike it, I don't wear it that often, and I want to have a wardrobe of things that I wear all the time. I think I'm trying to be a minimalist. I want that in a way, but it's hard. So yeah, so that's basically it for knitted things. And then I brought this as an example as well. Some of you will remember that this was, it's kind of balled up right now. This was my first non-pajama sewed garment. This is a Bettine dress It's actually, like, I'm pretty proud of the construction, but first of all, I don't think this color is very good on me. And second of all, yeah, again, it's just like, I don't reach for it to wear it. But it feels weird to get rid of it. I don't even know if donating something like this, like without any tags, would even be acceptable. And then, you know, like, you just kind of want it to be loved because you made it. I'm sure you guys all know what I mean. So yeah, I don't know, I just kind of wanted to raise this issue and hear your thoughts about it, and what do you guys do when you have things like this? Or maybe one of you has an idea of some sort of trade that you'd like to do if you like any of these pieces. I'm totally open to talking about that as well. And it doesn't even necessarily have to be yarn. Like I said, I have a lot of yarn. You know, if there's, like, for example, I would love to do some sort of like artist trade with people who do art in other mediums or something like that. So yeah, I don't know, maybe there's already like a place for artist swaps or something like that, or maybe we could create one, or I don't know. It's an interesting issue, I think, and I wanted to talk to you guys about it and get your ideas, and yeah, so please do let me know what you think. Okay, on that note, I wonder how long I've been talking. I thought this would be short, but I blabbed about that for a while, so yeah. Without further ado, I think that's pretty much it. I mean, I don't even know that I have that much exciting stuff in my life to report. I don't know, I had an audition, didn't get that job. Yeah, I don't know, what have I been doing? Not that much. Working, but not that much. We're having a really chill period right now, which is nice. It's about to start up again, but yeah. I am kind of thinking about, if I don't get another singing job for next season, because my contract is ending this summer, I might just move to Berlin. So that's kind of news. Yeah, if I have to go back to the freelance life, I think I'd rather live in a city that I really like. And for me, Frankfurt isn't really my place. So I'm thinking about that. Yeah. Otherwise, I feel like I'm just babbling. So I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Oh, and we're also, I saw that we're really close to 3,000 subscribers, so when we get there, we'll probably have a giveaway, which is cool. Please join in an endorsement knit along if you would like to, and if you are joining in and just haven't said anything, I would really appreciate if you would go chatter in the thread so I don't feel so alone. All of that stuff is linked below. Yeah. I think that's it. So happy making. I hope wherever you are, you're having lovely weather. If you're in the northern hemisphere, I really hope it's warming up for you. And if you're in the southern hemisphere, getting ready for a really lovely autumn. And that's all. So I will see you guys hopefully in about 2 weeks. And happy making. I'll see you next time. Bye.